All right. Well, this is a lot more people than I had practiced for, but, we'll work with it. So I am Rhonda Flegel. I am the current director, very new director, for my center in McLean County, Illinois. When I say new, I mean 3 months new. But I actually wrote this presentation and submitted my session when I had gotten assistant director back at the end of last year. And I was going through all these things, and I, being in a new position with a new leadership responsibilities, and decided that I wanted to share, what I was going through. And now it applies again because I'm going through it all over again. So we'll just get started. So I'm a people person. I like to know about people. I like their stories. It makes me relatable, right? So I'm not only the director for a center, but outside of work, I'm a mom, a sister, an aunt, granddaughter. Those are my kids, nieces and nephews, my family. And a little bit more about my background. So I've been in my center going on 14 years. Same center, started there as a dispatcher in 2009. So, when I talk about it, I like to think I know when I'm relating to people because I've been there, I've been through it. Became a CTO in 2012 to 2017. 2017, they decided to open up shift supervisor, and I said, sure, why not? Let's go for it. And got it, and I spent 4 years on night shift. Became the public education program coordinator also. Something else, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I don't say no a lot. We'll get into that because that's a weakness of mine. Became an MPEF board member in 2019, assistant director for 2021. At the same time, thought it would be a great idea to become an instructor for different things. And then 6 months into my assistant director, my director at the time decided, hey, I'm going to retire in 3 months. Not the 3 years that we had originally planned on, to give myself a little time to get used to my position. So I put in and I got the director in May. Objectives that we're going to go over. I feel that being a good leader and being relatable is knowing where your strengths and weaknesses lie. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. I learn every day from my TCs, from my supervisors, my whole management team, everybody, the agencies I serve, constantly learning something new. That's why I enjoy coming to conferences and meeting everybody, because I walk away learning a whole lot more than I did when I got here. Also, though, with being relatable and being in that leadership role, you have to have some boundaries. Even though I say I'm director, it's a title. It's a title. I'm still the same person I was almost 14 years ago when I started there as a dispatcher. So, when I say that, though, some people do see it, and they see, oh, you're now a supervisor, so we're not going to talk to you, or now you're moved up, so we're not going to talk to you again, even though I've been working with those same people for 14 years. People pleaser. I don't give up. So I just keep on plugging away and getting to know my people and try to strengthen those relationships. And then remembering that those relationships are important, that they're the ones doing the work day in and day out, as all of you guys do, and building off of those relationships. It's not a one and done. You don't meet somebody or talk to those people and then never talk to them again, right? You gotta keep at it. So that's what I do. Strengths and weaknesses, acknowledging those are a huge thing. You have to know what you bring to the table and what you don't. So positives, open communication, open door policy. At my center, my door is always open. Yes, we still have chain of command. I believe in that. However, at any given time, anybody in the center knows that they can come to me if they need to. Active listening. So not just listening, but actually hearing what they're telling me. Where are our downfalls? Where are our problems? What would make their jobs easier? That's my job. is to actually go and advocate for those things and make those things happen. Is it always something that's, easy to do or possible? Maybe not always, but eventually, if I can do it, we'll do it. Another big thing, mutual respect. We don't have to be best friends, but we need to respect each other. So every day, and I have it on the other side, is I go in and I go onto my floor. I say good morning. Again, you don't have to be my best friend. You don't even have to really like me that day or if you're in a bad mood. But mutual respect is I know, and typically I can read my people now. I know that if they don't say hi back or something's up, something's up. Check in on your people. Be there for them. And then making sure you're relatable. So actually, this just happened the other day where I was in the kitchen and my TC, I said, your birthday's coming up. And he's like, you know my birthday? Well, yeah, I know your birthday. I may not know the exact day. I was a day off, I think. I said the 19th, it was the 18th. But I know when their birthdays are. I know what's going on with their families. I check in on them if I know that they're out with a wife that's having surgery or a kid that's sick. So I check in on them. That makes me relatable. That makes me easier to talk to and easier to come to. Because even though I'm the same person I was when I started there 14 years ago, you kind of have to keep going through it. You have to reintroduce yourself to your people and show them that you're still there and you're still working to be that same person. On the other side, what do you need? There has to be some give and take, right? So it has to be a two-way street. I'm going to ask for things. I expect certain things. And hopefully they'll follow through. You always got one or two that may not want to, but you might have to work a little extra hard on those ones, but you'll get it. My weaknesses where I fall short, I'm a people person. I want people to like me. It's just something that I want. And also, I'm really bad at facial. My face gives me away. I'm working on it. So if you can't tell, I'm super nervous. So those are things I know that I need to work on, too. I'm a big quote person, too. I love quotes. I have them all over my office. They help me. So this was one I found. To build a strong team, you must see someone else's strength as a complement to your weakness and not a threat to your position or authority. At no time do I think just because someone may know something more than I do or have questions that I have to go find the answers to, they're not threatening me. They're just teaching me. I can learn from that. A few things that we're doing at our center. So a little backwards, I digress. Our last director was not open door policy, was not seen outside his office, did not know what was going on in the center. He was more the type that if there was a problem, he wanted to be the first to know about it, but it better have already had a solution and been dealt with by the time it got to his office. I want to try not to be that way. So we have that open door policy. We have regular meetings. I have regular staff meetings. I have one-on-one meetings, CTO meetings, all kinds of meetings. That daily dispatch floor check-in, I said I go in every morning. I do. That's like, I open my door to my office, I put my stuff down, I go to my floor. I check in and see how things are going. If I get there early, I'm fortunate enough to see night shift, and then in the afternoon, I'll go back out again. If I'm there still, I should be, but I go and check in on second shift too. Sometimes I go in late or early just so that I can see those people. I also believe in team building because why? Again, it goes back to being relatable. I get a lot more answers and a lot more honesty outside the office. So if I take my management team and we go miniature golfing or to an escape room or somewhere outside the office, you better believe I get a whole lot more of what's going on than what they feel comfortable telling me in the office. I don't know what it is. People just open up when you're outside. Also something we're working on, because it wasn't always that way, is consistency and transparency. Do they have to know everything? No. But should they know what's going on? Yes, absolutely. They should have an idea of what your idea is, what your goals are for your center. And being consistent. So, again, work in progress. Consistency for us is all across the board. If I'm going to do it for one shift, I do it for all shifts. If we're going to, celebrate something, we're going to celebrate everything. It's a little tricky right now because of our management changes. We only have currently one supervisor. I'm also trying to implement working supervisors, which is a whole new thing for us. Our center didn't allow it before. I'm not sure why, because I think it's a valuable thing to have working supervisors if it's used correctly. I think everybody here, who's not short-staffed? We're all short-staffed, right? So this was my way of, okay, how can we help them? Because we recognize that you're overworked, working too many hours, too many days in a row, on their days off, right? So what could we do? What was an easy solution? Have my supervisors work a couple hours. We're not taking away from the overtime that they want to work. We're just filling in those gaps to keep them from working 12, 16 hours when they don't really want to. Relatability and boundaries. How well do you know your employees? Do you know when their birthdays are? Do you know that, one of them just had surgery or their wife had surgery or their kid was sick? Those things are important. That makes you relatable. That makes you human. We're all human. I don't want to go in there, hide in my office, and not know what's going on. I still teach the PST course because that gives me an opportunity, the perfect opportunity, to meet with those new hires. I get a week with them in a boardroom. Has the director ever done that in my center? No. It was maybe you got to meet him, maybe you didn't. I don't like that. I want them to know me. I want them comfortable to come to me if they have questions. At the same time, friendly versus friends, right? I can be friendly. I can know when their birthday is. Does that mean we're going to go celebrate their birthday together? Probably not. I recently had to learn to keep my personal social media separate from my work social media because not everyone out there is happy, happy for you, genuinely. And that was one of the lessons I learned the hard way. And I've learned to separate those things. But that doesn't mean I can't find other common grounds. When I go to check in every day, I might ask, hey, how's school registration going? If I know they have a kid. How are sports going? Did you see that new movie? If I know that they like the superhero movies, did you see the new Thor? Just keeping things kind of basic. You don't have to get to know all the ins and outs, but have something to talk about. They don't want to see you just walk out there thinking you're standing over them and checking on them. If you actually talk to them, find out what's going on. This was a lot easier as supervisor because I was on the floor constantly. Third shift, I knew my third shift. I could tell their moods by how they said hi to me. I'm trying to get back to that. But I'm going from 7 people and knowing their moods to 17 people knowing all their moods. So that's a little tricky. And making sure you establish those boundaries is a big thing. What's inappropriate? What's appropriate? What can they talk to me about? Sometimes they want to tell inappropriate jokes. Probably not the best person to be telling inappropriate jokes to when you just took your sexual harassment training. Just saying. Typically, I just walk away. And those are those boundaries. Establish and maintain them. That goes back to consistency. If you're not going to accept it from one person, you can't accept it from anybody or any of them. You can't be like, I'm going to overlook you talking that way in front of me, but I'm going to call you out on it. You can't do that. It has to be across the board. We're working on our standards. Low staff. We have low morale right now. Low staff, management that wasn't that great, kind of take all those things, and you get really low morale. burnout, needing the days off, right? Everybody wants to see their families. I think one of the boundaries in establishing that I have to establish is they think the misconception that right now that I'm fighting is that because I'm set hours, right? I go in at 7, I'm off at 3. They think that just because I walk out that door, I'm not working anymore. Not true, right? So I have to I've got to teach everybody that just because I'm not here physically doesn't mean I'm not here. I keep my phone on. I actually have been checking in today because it's Monday and it's just something I do. So I've been calling. Hey, what's going on? Everything okay? Do we need anything? They're like, you're in California. Would you just focus? Okay. That's my consistency. That's who I am. I wouldn't be anyone else. I wouldn't be any different. I want our center to be better. I want it to be the best we can be for each other, for the people, the citizens we serve, for the agencies we serve, all of those things. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, and that's why I keep telling myself it's not a quick fix, but we'll get there. We're in the right direction. Couple sessions I've been to, right? They say your title doesn't matter, and it doesn't. I'm still the same thing. Same person I was. However, when people pleaser in me wants everybody to like me, right? As soon as I went from TC to supervisor, they drew this line. Why? I'm still the same person I was yesterday. Still Rhonda, still got 3 kids, family, all that stuff, still serving the center. So we learned Rhonda as a supervisor, right? Great. 4 years later, assistant director. Again, same people. Worked with these people 14 years. But again, that line was drawn. And I had to relearn it all over again and reestablish those relationships again. I don't give up. I don't. Tell me I can't do something, it's going to make me want to do it even more. And then when I got director, same person. I'm still the same person. I still believe the same things I did 24 hours later. But again, we're at that point where there's that line, and they're thinking, okay, well, can I trust her? So it's not them, it's not me, it's just relearning each other, re-establishing those relationships and the things that you want for your center. Could I say, nah, screw it, we'll just go to my office and not worry about it? I could. Some days it might make it a little easier, but that's not how I want us to be. I want it to work. I want there to be communication in a communication center. I think that's huge. There's not enough of it, right? Can't be the only center that doesn't communicate, right? Everybody? Nobody's raising their hands? Okay. Once you start developing those relationships, maintain them, work on them, build them. Relationships take work. You're not with a significant other, you're not friends with people just because you met one day and don't keep in contact, right? You got to work. It's the same thing in our centers. You got to work at it. You have to. Have those open door policies be accessible. Even if they know I'm not there this week, I think I woke up to 20 emails this morning. Still checked them, still responded to what I could. If I couldn't, call someone who can. I'm still accessible. Yes, I'm physically here, but I'm also still worrying about the center. Be engaged. It sounds easy, but just being engaged. Talk to your people, getting to know them, what they like, what they don't like. Bringing donuts sometimes helps. Ordering pizza sometimes helps. Not for everybody. I think last month I was like, oh, I'm going to have a multi-agency cookout. Yeah, I'm going to do all these cool things. I'm going to invite all our partner agencies, do a little tour of our center. They got mad at me. What was their first email? Just to be hateful. What are you going to do, hold another cookout? Guess what? Yep, I will. And I'm going to keep doing it. Because even if I reached one shift, one TC, and made their day a little bit better, that's one person I made their day better. One person I got, a little more engaged. Holding those regular one-on-one meetings, I'm still working on this. Like I said, I wrote this one 6 months ago. So I'm rehabbing to do this. The one-on-one meetings with my management team, with the TCs. I also have a problem with delegating. It's a weakness. I'm working on it. So I still sit on interviews for TCs. I still sit on interviews and boardroom and all the committees. Do I have time for all of it? No, not all the time. Do I make time? Yes. Why? It's priority. I'm engaged. I want things to be better. So you'll find me at all the things. I can't possibly lead my people if I don't have their voices in my head. It's another quote. I relate to it. If someone has a problem and comes to me and they're talking, if I don't hear that, actively listen to that and hear it, and then it constantly is in my head until I figure out a solution, I'm no better than the last director who didn't listen. No better than the last, management team that didn't listen. It takes work, lots of work, but we get there. Keep building those relationships, create new ones, the new hires, the new people. They're not gonna, you got those dispatchers, they're not gonna make it. Why? What are we not doing? I didn't come into this 14 years ago knowing how to dispatch. People transfer centers, yes. There's experience, yes. But the first time you became a dispatcher, did you have experience? Did you know what you're doing? No. None of us do. We can't get new people and keep new people and retain these people if we're not engaging with them and keeping them involved and getting to know them a little bit. There's some people that they're like, well, I don't want to get to know them because they're probably not going to be around very long. Anybody have anybody like that in their center? Yeah, we still got a few. Addition by subtraction sometimes. But we're working on it because we're also now getting those standards that is not acceptable. That's not going to be okay anymore. We're not going to allow that anymore. We want these people to succeed. So let's work on how we can succeed. Does our training program need work? Probably. All right, let's look at our training program. Do our SOPs need to be revised? Absolutely. Are they following the SOPs? No, if we're not following it and we don't need it, why do we have it? It's either shit can it or rewrite it so that we can follow it. Let's, make it make sense. No matter what my title is over the past 14 years, I'm still a part of that team. They're my people. You're my people. It's a much larger scale, but you're my people. And I want them to know that. I want them to feel like we're part of a team. Those small shifts going from calling yourself a shift to a team makes a huge difference. You wouldn't think that one little word would make a difference. It makes such a difference because you're not referring to people as a shift. You're working as a team. It's a whole team. I feel like I talked really fast. Questions? Comments? There's a whole mic up here, you guys. I don't have to be the only one talking. You got to come up to a mic. They're recording it.
I don't want to stand right in front of this person. So the open door policy, how do you establish the open door policy without making your supervisors or those that are in between you and your line level employees feeling like they're skipped over, or like, why wasn't I approached, or not kept in the loop, things like that? How do you keep the chain of command and have the open door?
Okay, so yes, keeping that chain of command. It kind of depends on what they're coming to me about. If it's something day to day, like they want to complain about where they're sitting that day, your supervisor's door's open too. Go back to them. Typically, I'm fairly lucky in that aspect. My management team, we've all worked our way up together. We've all worked alongside each other for so long that we're kind of I'm CC'd on all the emails still. So our open door policy it's easy. Is it going to work for everybody? No. And sometimes, depending on what it's for, you're going to have to reestablish. Those are those boundaries, okay? What's okay and not okay to go to people for? Scheduling issues? No, not so much. Will I help look at the schedule? Yes, absolutely. If it's something I can address that easily and, put another set of eyes on it, yeah, I'll call up whoever's working on it and I'll say, hey, can you take a look at this day? Can we make some changes? So I think that's just kind of establishing some boundaries. And when I say open door, I want them to not be afraid to go to my door. I was terrified of our last director. Terrified, because he only wanted to see you when something was like terribly wrong. No, I want the good things too. Please don't just knock on my door when something's terribly on fire and everything's going to shit. Like, I want to know about the good things. Like, did we deliver a baby this month? Those kind of things, because then I can follow up and reward them and do all the fun stuff that goes with it. And we're kind of at a stalemate right now with being low-staffed, everybody. What discipline has been followed and what has been overlooked, we're kind of reestablishing those boundaries right now. So it's a lot. I'm working on it. Any other questions? You guys are a quiet group. Either it was really bad or...
Is this on?
Yes, go for it. I didn't know you were waiting.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I've seen, and so congratulations on, your upward mobility and what I would say is such a short time for the job that we do. When I started 28 years ago, the 4 supervisors that we had for our shifts, pretty much there was not going to be a change in supervisor till we used to essentially say they died there, because we have a 30-year retirement, and the 4 supervisors that we have had been in their supervisory positions for a very long time. So that creates a problem, because they just get comfortable in those positions. So then eventually we had turnover, and they retired, new supervisors came in. But now the problem is now these supervisors that we have in play, and I'm one of them, have been in play for a long period of time. I had an opportunity long ago in my career to promote for a supervisor, and actually was number 1 on the list. But I turned it down at that point because I saw how the supervisors that I was going to be replacing, the type of people that they became, because they were in the longevity of that job. And you're just now a supervisor and you don't do anything else but supervisor. And I see the same thing with my upper management, where in my 28 years, I've seen 2 chiefs that oversee me. And the current one right now is 15 years in. Now, obviously, they're going to go for a 30-year retirement, and they can stay that long as long as they serve at the pleasure of the county executive. So as long as they don't do anything to piss anybody off, they're going to keep their job. But I've seen over the years, like when he first came in, he was one of us, because he came up through the trenches and he had a difficult time with his boss and trying to get things done. And in the beginning, he wanted to do a lot of stuff, and we did a lot of innovative stuff and move forward. But now the problem has become stale. And, that's my concern is I don't know if you, in your agency, you have a, pension or retirement, age, but I think that's what becomes the problem is now it's just stale. We have an assistant chief who's worked in the center for over 40 years and has been the assistant chief for the better part of 35 years. And then another assistant chief that we have is 25 years or so and has been in his active role for about 10 years. So they're all pushing for, well, except for the guy who's actually going to die there because he will not leave. He has a battle with another dispatcher that won't leave either. But essentially, they're going to be there until they get to their 30-year retirement. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to leave at that point. And the problem's going to be is that there's not really going to be anybody to come up through the ranks for that opportunity to learn and, be able to make some changes. So my that would be my thing to you is, just make sure that, you just don't get stale in your job, because you probably have a good, what are you, like 25? You got like 25 years, 30 years to go, So, but I mean, you obviously, you could have a long career in this job, and I think that's the one problem where people get promoted so fast, so young, and it just gets stale.
Yeah. I'm not quite 25. I'll take it. I started my career when I was 25. So you could do the math. So, yeah.
So one of the things that I've learned in my career and now as a manager, and I've been in this career field for 32 years, is one of the best self-checks that you can do, especially as a new director, manager, supervisor, is ask a question that I heard asked in an interview many years ago. And it was at the point where we gave the opportunity to the prospective dispatcher, do you have any questions for us? And the question was posed, what's the culture of your agency? That's a gut check. Because are you going to go negative? Are you going to go positive? Or are you going to be fully truthful and try and give it to them unvarnished? And, a lot of times we focus on that negative aspect. And if that's what your gut or your instinct drives you to, there's your roadmap as to what's wrong within your agency and where your attention should be driven. So what I try and encourage people professionally, talking to colleagues, even within my own agency, what's the culture here? What's going on? What do I know about? What don't I know about?
Yes. So I like to say we're under construction. New management team, trying to change that culture. It's not something that happens overnight, especially when it's been the same way for so long that it just became the normal. No, that's unacceptable. It's not okay. That should not be our normal. You shouldn't not like to go to work. I was there once. And, you should always be reaching out to your people. Going back to the last gentleman, are you reaching out to your people, though, that have leadership qualities and leadership skills? I've gone to a couple sessions with, Doug Showalter and all them talking about finding those leadership and building them up. I've had some great mentors, not necessarily in my center, but from people I've met just at conferences and different committees and stuff that have been my biggest support system, my biggest cheerleaders. When they say it's lonely at the top, they are not kidding. It's lonely. But it doesn't have to be. There's go out, meet people, build those people up. Did I think 14 years ago I would be a director 14 years later? Absolutely not. At the time, my assistant director said, before she left, I'll make a dispatcher out of you one day. Okay. Well, guess what? No, boo-boo. Look where I'm at now. Again, I don't use my title like that, but those are the kind of people that did not build me up, did not reach out and say, hey, you can do it. Did my director, who was the previous director, know that I put in for this? No. When I told him that I got my session, well, you'll have to check with the next director and see if they're going to let you go. Yep, I'm going. I mean, his departure, again, when I took assistant director last October, and that was a very toxic person that left that position. Nobody wanted to work under her. I was doing her job, myself and the other supervisor were doing the job of an assistant director at the time. And I set goals for myself. I looked and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Got this. Reaching out to those people, building from within. The other supervisor, my day shift supervisor, Christy, she had started the same time I did 14 years ago. Stayed a supervisor, came from our center, from another center, supervisor the whole time. Why? Because no one reached out to her and told her she could do anything else. No one encouraged her. I got director. We started looking for someone to replace me. Not that easy, but I was like, hey, Christy, you're the next assistant director. No, I'm not. Why? Why not? Give me one good reason why you can't be the next assistant director. She didn't have any. So she's now my assistant director. My supervisors, same way. Nobody wanted to apply in-house to be the next shift supervisor. I started going out to those ones that have shown some leadership skills, my CTOs, the ones that are working on my training program. I said, you're going to be my next supervisor. Supervisor interviews came along. I got one of them. That is what caused the first not so happy moment at my center. It was a big deal. It's not always easy. I have to make some hard decisions. I knew I wasn't going to make friends. But I promoted from within. And why I say that it was not a fan favorite, and probably still isn't, because they saw me taking away from the floor. They saw me taking away. They didn't see the good that I was building up. It's all in how you look at it. I'm retaining someone who wasn't happy, wanted to keep going up. Well, then why not? Let's move them up. Let's support those goals. There's going to have to be another me someday. So, yeah.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm so much better now that I see you.
Yeah. It sounds like you're doing everything right within your power. You know, you came from a bad place. Just keep looking forward and moving forward. You have the right ideas, for sure. We've used open door policy at our center for a while, and I mean, yeah, to that question over there, it's just when somebody goes to the director who has an open door, they know the chain of command, and they'll go talk to the supervisor they're supposed to talk to. As long as if your admin staff, your supervisors, and your directors know where to direct people, it's a way more comfortable environment. So
You're all on the same page.
yeah, so you're doing the right stuff. I did have a question though. You try to get to know something about everybody. We've been trying to do that. I feel like I know my staff really well. I'll be quite honest. There's some people. Okay, I know I didn't say that loud enough for the recording, but there are some people who are really hard to like. So, question for you: how do you force yourself to ask something about them and make it seem like you care?
Okay. So, and that's an internal thing. When I was a fellow TC, did I have to give a crap? No, I didn't. I could go in, do my job, check out. All's good. As you move up, you got to care more. You got to find something. Again, friends versus friendly. You don't have to be their best friend. But me works out. Our communities, I don't know, like 300,000 people, but there's a lot of smaller rural communities. I live in a smaller rural. The one dispatcher that may not be my best friend also is in a small community. His son same grade as mine. Hey, how'd school registration go? Hey, is he playing summer league t-ball? Going to be on the same team? Just kind of finding those little things that you can kind of relate with. So, yeah. Look at that. Almost done. Anybody else? Y'all want the mic. I can tell. Yeah. Okay, well. My contact information's up there. If you have any questions, think of anything. Ever in Illinois, want to come visit our center? Yeah. Please do so. It's hot there, but you step outside there and you're sweaty. It's gross. Here, you don't understand the dry heat thing until you're actually in a state that has dry heat. So, but thank you all for attending my first session.